All right. This is actually episode 9. No, this is episode 10.
This is 10.
Episode 10 of Special Sesh. This is trying something new this week. Last week we did a premature clip show. I should also say, I realized people are jumping into just starting to find us. So I'm Andy Lyman, Matt Kennicott across the table, but probably right next to me in the screen. Just to recap for folks that don't already know us, Matt, you spent years in the government sector and the party politics. Worked for the Republican Party.
Yep.
Worked for the Susana Martinez administration. Mm-hmm. Around that same time, I was sort of on the other side of that. In the media, I was reporting on politics in New Mexico.
You were recording on politics too. Yeah.
So while we didn't really cross paths all that much at the time, but anyway, yeah. So this special sesh was a child of ours, where we're like, man, we don't agree on everything, and we have different perspectives of the political world and come from different places, but of course we have one great uniter. It is cannabis, and we thought this would be a good idea to sit and bullshit, talk about local, national politics, global politics while hanging out. So hopefully this also provides a little Sunday sesh for folks if they want to join us and yell at their screen for how stupid we are. Or,
I hope they do too. I do the same thing watching podcasts, so it's all right.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. I mean, I'm like halfway through a Joe Rogan podcast episode, and there's just shit that comes out of his mouth and other people's mouths, and I'm like,
I yell at that show a lot, all the time. It's become a favorite pastime. I'll be in the kitchen cooking breakfast in the morning, listening to a Rogan episode, and just screaming at them how wrong they are. Well, Veronica's like, they can't hear you.
yeah, and I noticed, I realized a long time ago, but thought about it today, that I'm like, I think what rubs people the wrong way about him is the wrong things that he says, but also the way he says it so confidently. Like, no, this is the way it is. And it's because I know a dude, and you're like, all right.
He usually starts it with, my good friend so-and-so.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is the special sesh. We're doing something a little bit different. We'll still post our secret sesh where we it's uncensored, so to speak, but we're not going to split 2 episodes up. I think folks probably don't want to sit and watch 2 hours of us every week. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't like watching 2 hours of me, so I don't know.
I don't watch 2 hours of me. I end up just I can't skipping around.
It's a speed run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So anyway, episode 10 last week I said was like I said, a clip show where it was Memorial Day weekend, and I think both of us were just ready to not sit down and fuck with this. So here we are, episode 10. We are at Thrive Cannabis.
Yeah, Thrive Craft Cannabis over on 2nd and Montano area. Shout out to Josh and the whole crew over here. It's a cool little spot.
There's a chance, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a chance that you missed a few things that Matt just said. Like I said, we're at Thrive, and I think we can say that. Maybe we're cutting some of that stuff out. But anyway, for the uncensored folks, for those that are on YouTube and not watching us on Substack, go check out Substack to find out what we just said. Joke's on you.
Exactly.
So before we started recording, actually just hours before we started recording, I think we both got wind separately that Duke Rodriguez et al. In the case against the Republican Party and Amy Barella won. Mm-hmm. I have not dug deep into the details or the file or the ruling or anything like that, but my understanding is that she's got to quit one of her jobs, right?
She has to. I kind of thought that from the beginning, so I'm glad to see the court ruled the way they did. Really, a party chairman is too distracted if they're doing anything else other than serving as the party chair. Their number one job during an election is to raise money for the party in order to support their candidates. I think just looking at the performance of the Republicans coming into this election, she was distracted at the very get-go because they failed to recruit candidates in several high-profile races, including the U.S. Senate race against Ben Ray. So there's issues there. You need somebody that's not distracted, focused on the job, and just ready to get it done. So
was she running against or is she running against anybody in the primary?
I believe, she has a primary challenge. That's the reason that they ruled the way they did.
I mean, you're not wrong on the distraction part of it, but that you could argue away, and that's a little bit harder to argue in court. You know, I'm guessing a judge would be like...
That's from a pure politics standpoint.
Totally. A judge's going to look at that and go like, hopefully a judge is going to say, I don't give a shit how good of a job your employee does, or, you know, or how distracted she is. That's not my issue. But I do think there's a legal issue there of, I mean, both parties, as long as I know, have stayed out of primary endorsements. I mean,
pretty much.
You get the old endorser Heinrich who likes to endorse people in primaries much too. I mean, a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, whatever. But the parties themselves have been really good about saying we're not. I mean, again, it's not a direct party representative, but our own governor has kept her mouth shut about who she backs in the primary.
As she should. The tradition is pretty strong where, if you're an elected official, you let the party do the party stuff. Obviously, if you're the governor, you're the head of the party. So whatever you say goes. So you kind of have to keep your mouth shut when it comes to these races, especially if it's a longtime incumbent or somebody that you're close with or whatever. So you got to stay away from that. It's not only the smart thing to do, it's ethically... man, we're actually talking about ethics and politics. Yeah, ethically, it's also the right thing to do.
Oxymoron, right?
These days, 100%. So staying away from those endorsements is very smart. In this case, I need to go back and look. I think what they found is that it's a Hatch Act violation because she has an opponent in her primary while she's holding an office that's also partisan, which is the chair of the state Republicans. That's the reason that she's had the legal issue at this point.
It's a fancy legal way of saying conflict of interest. Like you're putting your finger, or potentially could be. Again, I can't give her the benefit, or I'll take this from the journalist standpoint. I can't say that she's actually put her finger on the scale because I don't know enough about it, but potentially, and like we always say in journalism, it's the the implication of an impropriety.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you've necessarily done anything or that you would do anything. It's not a character attack. It's saying you have the potential to do this thing and it looks bad.
I don't think she's necessarily done anything wrong behind the scenes or under the table or anything like that. You're right. It just does not look good to serve as party chair and hold an elected position at the same time. I don't know. Could the Republicans not find another candidate for chair? I mean, you really, like I said before, you need to be focused on one job, and that's raising money for the party.
Yeah, and I mean, you know more about this than I do. I'm guessing that basically she's an employee at will of the board, right? Of the
pretty much the central committee.
So I mean, it seems like some folks really didn't want to either cause waves or they thought it was going to be too hard to find a replacement. But I'm kind of a little bit surprised that they let it get to court this way, because I'm like, you're struggling right now. If there's a party that's struggling other than libertarians in New Mexico, it's Republicans.
Republicans are on the ropes here. I hate to say it because a lot of them are still my friends. And I worked with a lot of these folks for 20 plus years,
right? But
they're on the ropes. The leadership is I don't think really serving Republicans well right now, and they're dropping the ball on a lot of very important things, like recruiting candidates, for example. And I don't know. I think it's a fair criticism to say that it's because the chair is distracted and not there all the time. I will also say that, it's been a while since the Republicans have had a chairman that completely understood the role of what a chair was. Of course, I came up under the days of John Dendall. I don't know if you remember him at all.
I know the name. I remember the name.
Yeah, Dendall was one of my early mentors. I was probably 19 when I first met him, and he served as Republican Party chair for years and years. He understood the role.
So when you're talking about that high quality, does that include our current Bureau of Land Manager, our Bureau Land Manager?
No comment. Steve Pierce had some good qualities, but I also don't think he was a great party leader. He came out the gates as somebody who was divisive, and there were already two sides to everything there. So
from an outsider, it just comes down to, and this is not an attack on anybody personally at all, it's just, and this happens in any big organization, I think he became somewhat out of touch and untouchable in certain ways. I mean, I remember having zero stake in it, that there was a faction of Republicans in the local party, the state party, that were saying, we don't want you leading our party in the state anymore.
100%.
There was a ton of people that were literally, this is when this was after Trump won in 2016, and of course there was a bunch of Democrats saying this is stolen, it was all fucked up, and something happened with voting. And then the local Republicans had to basically say the same thing and be like, I don't trust this voting process.
Yeah, mixed messages, right?
Yeah.
No, when Pierce came in, there was already a divide in the party between the Pierce faction and other folks. At one point, it was Susanna's people versus Pierce's folks, and then that kind of teetered off, and it ended up being something else.
Right.
So it would be wonderful if they could all get together and kind of figure out one person who just does the job of the chairman and does it incredibly well. Republicans haven't had that in this state for a very long time. The last time they had a strong leader at the head of the party, it was Susana Martinez, but the chair at the time and largely was Harvey Yates. And we all know that there was a divide between the Harvey faction and the Susanna J. McCleskey faction.
And you bring up a really great point, because you could almost watch real time. And this is when I was working for the Santa Fe Reporter and commuting with one of my colleagues, and we would talk about this back and forth and just trying to piece together all the different factions, right? There was that divide between Yates and Martinez and that sort of thing. But then you sort of Pierce, and then that Pierce wing sort of went off into the, I would argue, MAGA territory.
I agree.
Right? Where some of those folks that argued against Martinez saying we're the principled Republicans, right? You guys are just that was that argument between the Pierce people, and then that principled stance turned into like a MAGA stance.
Yep. There's a lot of the Tea Party people, kind of Tea Party, MAGA, Pierce, like they're all kind of aligned.
I feel like we're about to do that, like, that Always Sunny meme where Charlie has the yarn.
Yeah, exactly.
So you had said something a second ago that I was going to jump on, and I forgot. It was, when you were saying that, and I think we're both saying the same thing. I don't know that either of us either have enough information or can say definitively that Amy Borrella was doing her job poorly. However, some of the folks that won, I think, would argue the exact opposite, right? Duke Rodriguez and Blair Dunn, I think, were pretty adamant in their statements saying that, like, they're not helping us out. The Republican Party is a mess, and look at this.
I mean, that's exactly what they were saying, and I don't think they would have sued if they thought she was doing her job effectively.
So
it's that's one of the great things about the country we live in. If you think somebody's not doing what they should be doing, then you have recourse.
Another reason why you can't have the chair of any party running for any office is people say that every election cycle, right? There's always a faction of a party that says, like, maybe they're not as loud as others, but they say, the powers that be are playing favorites, and I'm trying to do this, and fuck the party. And but that doesn't usually go anywhere unless your party chair is already
doing something. Yeah.
Well, if your party chair is doing the thing that she's not doing it to you necessarily, but she's doing it somewhere else, right? You're saying, hey, she's biased, she's not helping us out, and then she has no plausible deniability when she is doing the exact thing she's accused of.
Yeah, and every freaking election cycle, somebody in the party is going to get accused of doing that, whether it's the chair, whether it's the central committee. It doesn't matter. You're going to get accused of it. But what you want to do is try and avoid as many of those accusations looking as true as possible. Yeah. And in this case, it just hasn't been the case.
Well, I guess should also mention before I forget, this comes out on Sunday. I don't know, a couple days before the primary. So
it's the May 31st, I think.
Yeah. So primary's on the 2nd. I think as far as I know, I'm 99.9% sure that if you're listening to this anytime after Sunday, it's too late to early vote. Yep. And you have to go vote in person on the 2nd.
On the 2nd. I'm waiting day of. I like to vote day of.
Me too. And speaking of day of, the plan is, and maybe if I say it into a camera and a microphone, although I know somebody that can edit this out if I did, our plan is to do some sort of live thing. So we're trying to get some folks maybe together to one or two people to join us and basically do a live watch of the poll numbers come in.
If you have any suggestions for guests, let us know down in the comments.
Absolutely. That also means suggestions of they'd probably want to do it too.
Yeah, that too.
I don't need a suggestion
just hit us up. You probably either have one of our phone numbers or email addresses, and if not, we've got 2 and maybe 3 different social media channels.
But if the suggestion is get the governor on, you got to help us out more than that.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
I think we've got some good ideas, and I don't want to say anything yet because, I think that'd be a fun thing to do, especially if there's any policy wonks that watch us because of that sort of our conversation. Because there's something about, it's funny that you and I have done that for so many years, but in different regards, right? You're watching the numbers come in for a different reason than I'm watching the numbers come in.
Yep.
But I think election, it's sort of like. I don't know. It would be like a smaller version of New Year's Eve to folks that are watching this stuff. Because
that's a good way to put
it. Watch it live. You watch the stuff come in, and then you're counting down the. It's not. You never know when it's going to end, so it's not like midnight it ends. But you're sort of all right, let's see who's going to win this in real time.
I've compared it to the Super Bowl a little bit, but that's when I've been on campaigns. I think watching it from this perspective now, like I have for. I don't know, probably about 10 years instead of being in campaigns, watching it from the outside, it is more like New Year's because you have this constant stream of stuff just coming in, waiting for the final big result.
This will be the first big election in a while that I won't have to actually do anything for it.
It's pretty nice.
I can go to bed as soon as I decide that I want to go to bed. And I don't have to do a bunch of work ahead of time. It's... election primary or any election night is probably stressful for folks like you in that corner, but it's just it makes my stomach hurt, just because there's so much to be covered, and how do you do it? I'd always have bosses that are like, "Oh, sleep in," and I'm like, "I wake up early
the day after election." Yeah.
Well, even the day of the election is because they're like, "It's going to go late tonight, so don't worry about it." And I'm like, "I got kids. I also can't sleep anyway because I'm thinking about who I need to call and pre-write little blurbs of stuff that you can write ahead of time, right? The background of the election, all that stuff. But then you have to leave this big gaping hole in your story, and you're just like." And once you get that information, you have to get it in there as fast as you can and as accurately as you can. And so it'll be I'm just bumming myself out.
There were a couple of election days for me that were just kind of ho-hum boring days because I had done all the work that I could possibly do because I was doing things like running absentee ballot collection programs. Well, that ends before election day, and my work would wrap up. So, I'd have a good chunk of the day just to kind of chill out. A lot of campaigns, especially local ones where you really can't do much anyway, I take the candidate to go see a movie, and then we go get lunch and like just kind of chill to help keep those nerves down.
I remember when Brad Winter decided to rerun for his city council seat like last minute. I really think it was because he didn't like the Democratic candidate, that he was like, oh, I'm going to run. He was literally going to retire, and then he's like, no, I'm back in it.
Yep.
I called him that night to see if he was at a watch party, because that's the other thing too, is you got to drive all over the city and and like hitting up all the different parties to talk to different people, and doing the preview story. Anyway, I called him and I'm like, basically like, hey, where are you at the Republican watch party? He's like, just picking up some signs, and I think he'd gone out to dinner with his family or something, and then he was like at home by 8:00.
Yeah, that's Brad.
Yeah,
he never really did those things. It was. I've got some really fun experiences from watch parties just because of who I've worked for. But the last one I did was Susanna's very first campaign.
Someday I'm going to make a whole episode about a Susanna party story. But
she does know how to throw a party. No doubt about that.
One day we're going to have to like put that on a real like pay platform of like hear an insider story.
It would have to be very very paid, I think. But yeah, that election was interesting because I set up we call it a war room. I set up our war room a couple of days before actual election day, and my really only worry that night was making sure all the technology was functioning right. And 8:30 rolled around. We were announced the winners, and we went downstairs and had a giant Susanna party. It was a lot of fun. But I've been in rooms where you've had people like Pete Domenici calling the White House on speakerphone, asking what else does the president need in New Mexico, and then Domenici getting on the phone calling county clerks looking for election results because they weren't out yet. So, like, just really cool, surreal moments like that.
I got to tell you, I guess you were probably... Where were you working in 2016 for that election? Were you working for a department?
Yeah, I had sworn off campaigns by that point, and I left the administration mid-2016.
Okay, so, yeah, election night, election day, 2016... I didn't go to the Democratic watch party. I didn't make it over there, but it's the funniest juxtaposition of watch parties that like I saw that night. So reminder, it was Gary Johnson who like made, a small wave for the Libertarian Party that year was a big wave for them, right? It was 9% in New Mexico.
Which launched them into major party status for the next presidential election. And
then on the national level, it didn't look like much, especially in that high stakes, like it's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump election. We all knew he wasn't going to, but he made some sort of dent in it, right? Like he made a name for himself that year.
I think he ended up taking like 12 or 15%, if I remember right. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But,
they will.
They will. I hope so. But that's not insignificant, especially for a libertarian candidate.
Right. So
that party is a fucking mess right now. But other than that, that's the last time he actually performed well.
Nationally, there was like a mutiny, I think, that happened, and I don't know where it is now. But
there's a criminal and the guy's a criminal, and for some reason, Pito rings a bell in my mind about this guy, but there's a bunch of infighting going on.
Okay.
The New Hampshire Libertarian Party is separating from the Nationals because of stuff that happened.
That's kind of a big deal.
There was somebody who stole something at their convention over the weekend, and they're trying to go after this person now. Like, it was a shit show. Guy was giving a Nazi salute on the floor.
Jesus.
Like, they were a mess. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm just staying away from parties from here on out because, man.
There was a little bit of getting off the rails when I was there in 2016 in Orlando covering it. People forget that's when one of the candidates stripped down to like a thong and danced on stage. And that was on C-SPAN, by the way.
Yeah, yes it was.
Anyway, so 2016 election night, I didn't make it to the Democratic Party. I honestly was expecting Hillary Clinton to win. Like, I didn't think, I was so, that I took that part so much for granted that I was just so much focused on, like, I wanted to see how the libertarians were going to party tonight, right? Like, or just like see what they were, like, everyone knows libertarians aren't going to win, but you know, you had Gary Johnson there, you had Nick Swars, I forget how to say his last name. Nick,
I can't remember either.
I
know what you're talking about.
Sorry, Nick, but yeah, former
nobody remembers him anyway.
former party chair. I thought he was a nice guy. He had a good quote that night. He said something about, oh man, I'm gonna fuck it up, but it was something about your tears feed us or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I feed off your tears or something. It was pretty like Viking-ish, you know.
But not to brag or anything, Andy, but I called every single state that Trump won on election night that were still toss-ups.
Oh my God.
I was sitting in the living room. Do you remember Whitney Waite?
No.
She owned, hi Whitney, she owned the Waite Company here in Albuquerque. It was a public relations and strategic communications firm. She's who I went to work for immediately after the administration. And we were practically neighbors. I lived like a block from her in Albuquerque, so went over to her house and watched it. And before the show, we both laid out our maps and we wrote down every single state that we thought who would take which one. And I called all of the Trump states only because I'd been paying attention to the polls and his turnout at rallies. He had historic numbers at his rallies in 2016. There was no way he was going to lose with the numbers that he was polling in person. It was nuts.
So I went to the Libertarian watch party.
Yeah.
And it wasn't packed, but like the energy there wasn't packed by any means because it was a giant room, but there was plenty of people having a great time, really truly celebrating, to the point where when I left there, I had to remind myself, like, they're the biggest losers. They lost the most,
but they know how to party.
And also, they were just so happy that they like got major party status. That Gary Johnson put them over the map.
Yep.
Or put them on the map, put them over that line.
That was pretty awesome.
And then I went to the Republican watch party because that's what I was assigned to, and it was such a juxtaposition where like there was a couple people that were really excited. The like spokesperson or whoever was really, really excited because they picked up Judy Nakamura, but also lost the house that they had. Like
the first time majority in like 80 years.
They put, from an outsider again, they put so much effort into getting rid of Michael Sanchez from sort of close to your neck in the woods. And so they got him out. They succeeded that, but they also lost a bunch of footholds that would have kept their majority.
Yep.
So I'm like, so they're kind of excited about that. And like, of course, getting excited about how the numbers are coming in. But it was like, everyone was just like chilling. There was, I just seem to remember like kind of a lot of older people. Maybe the younger people were in a, hotel room.
Probably in a suite.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just sort of like there was free popcorn and like just people sort of, it looked like a Super Bowl party, like your Christian friend's Super Bowl party, like
which is funny because usually in presidential years we would do it up at those parties, like full ballroom rental with everything catered, and they used to be a blast. even if you lost, they were still a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I'll have to do a whole nother episode too about this, do a little quiz show or something type thing. I'll think about it. But like, who throws like which, let's try to rank like the parties that all the different parties have thrown,
like, I like it.
Cause there's a lot of reasons I could argue Republicans would have a better party than Democrats, but, but I could also argue the other way too.
Absolutely.
Like, depending on what you're after, I guess. But, so then I got back to the office, and that's when I found out my office mate was like, she just lost, and I'm like, what? No. I was like, it was so late, and I was tired, and I was like, wait, no, like what? It was just such a it went from like libertarians like, yeah, we got 9% to Republicans being like, we're winning nationally but losing our state, and then to and then back to all I had heard was that there was literal tears at the Democratic Party that night.
Oh, I'm sure there were.
I think it was quite the night.
that year the expectations were so high for the Democrats. Like,
Yeah.
I think they thought they were going to mop the floor with everyone, and that, totally totally flipped on its head.
I mean, yeah, and look, that kind of ties in, which will be interesting. What I'll be watching, especially on primary night this year, is obviously the Deb Haaland and Sam Bregman race, because again, she's been getting more news coverage about her, refusal to do the journal, the Albuquerque Journal Forum. I don't know what they're calling it,
which is tradition.
And I've talked to folks where they're just like, yeah, why would she? She's got such a lead. Like, why would she?
I don't disagree. But
I don't know. I don't love that idea.
No,
for anybody,
I mean, from a strategic point, it makes sense for her not to. But just from a purely politician standpoint, you'd think you'd want to be out there and talking about whatever you want to talk about.
But that reminds me a lot. Like, that would
show what you're made of.
That would make me nervous. If I was on her team or somebody supporting her, and like that. Not that I'm not. I'm trying to be vague, and then I just realized I made it sound like I'm not. I don't know. I haven't voted. I'll vote on day of. Just that it reminds me of that sort of like the tortoise and the hare, like
slow and steady wins the race.
And that was sort of what happened with Clinton, right? It was sort of like, I don't need to go to the Rust Belt, and I don't need to go to see coal country. Yep. I don't need to go to West Virginia, Pennsylvania.
And in the meantime, Trump was going to every single one of those places multiple times. Deb should probably be doing the same thing, although she's been out on the road.
Oh, she's definitely been.
She hit Socorro just a couple weekends ago.
And she, to her credit, started that early, right? I mean, like,
very much so.
Obviously, she started her campaign early, but she literally hit the ground running. Like, she was out hitting every town she possibly could. So
100%.
She's probably on her second or third rounds in some of these places.
Easy. Which, quite frankly, is how you win New Mexico.
Yeah.
You get out there and you do that retail politicking.
I can't remember if we talked about this or not, and I mentioned this earlier, but worth repeating again, given that, like, when this comes out, the election will be decided in 2 days. Where all those undecided declined to state voters are going to go, right? Like,
that's going to be the big story, I think, for Tuesday night.
I haven't done the math, but I guess I was talking to somebody, and they pointed out that still may not be enough numbers to, depends on how many Deb voters there are in the Democratic Party. Will all those undecided, knock her out if that's what they're after?
I don't know. That's a really good question, because you've also got like 40% of Republicans still undecided too.
Yeah.
And then everybody else kind of in the middle right there. So there's still a lot of votes up for grabs that I don't think anybody really has a clue where those are going to go right now.
Yeah.
That's why I think that's the big story on Tuesday night.
I did misspeak. I didn't mean to say that declined state voters are undecided. I was conflating those two in the words. But
I picked it up.
same thing. That exactly that like there's the undecided Republicans. Where are they going to go, and where that flux of declined to state voters that just voted in the that early voted, right? Like, is that a strategical thing where they're going, okay, let's get Sam up there because he's better against somebody else? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It's crazy.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting evening, though. I'm really curious to look at the early returns too, and see who's actually still voting that way.
Yeah, sometimes, and we'll talk about this when we're doing it, but like, those early numbers really can, and I'm not smart enough to. You're way smarter than I am in this. It's like a Brian Sanderhoff thing to like mathematically look at it and be like, okay, there's no possible way that they can lose this at this point, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can see that pretty early on.
You can. That's why those numbers are so important. The 2004 presidential race, I was working for the RNC on what they call the Victory Operation. I was in charge of running the absentee ballot program for New Mexico, so making sure that we're getting the mail out, chasing down the ballots, and then tracking everything as it came in. And it became crucial to make sure we were getting those absentee and early vote numbers every day, because we'd tell exactly what we had to do on election day and the resources we had to devote to that and everything else. So those numbers are really, really important for these campaigns.
Yeah, and then, of course, Gabe Vasquez is out unofficially hitting the... We talked a little bit about this before we started recording. We also have, I think, for the past 3 real episodes, have talked about water and Socorro and the proposed data center, and the latest news out of today, so it'll be a few days old, but that Gabe Vasquez is now sort of pushing his weight around to try to get Socorro, what is it, the county, to vote on the moratorium, right? So
in just to clarify a little, because there's not an actual moratorium up in front of the commission yet. Well, yes, there is. It's partial.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is they've got a proposal that has a 1-year moratorium, and in the meantime, they're putting together basically a blue ribbon commission or committee to study the issues around data centers that go with that and make long-term proposals. I kind of feel like Santa Fe ripped us off a little bit because Socorro put that together like a month ago. Anyway, they've got this going on, and anybody watching this from Socorro, if you know the county folks better than I do, let them know I'm interested in a seat on that committee.
Right.
I'm definitely trying to get on there. I emailed
paid for by Matt Kennicott.
Exactly. I emailed the county manager the other day. So, but anyway, the congressman is throwing his support behind that moratorium and saying we really need to study the issue before we move forward, which is great. But the timeline of this entire thing is interesting because it's actually a project of New Mexico Tech. And the president keeps saying, we've been tasked with diversifying our revenue sources, so we have to look at this closely. All that means really is this thing's going to get dragged out for probably 2 years. They probably won't have a full agreement until sometime next year. And then construction probably wouldn't start until 2028 because of how permitting works and all that kind of stuff. So it's a long process. So 1-year moratoriums are great, but all it's doing is sitting within their timeline.
Right.
So, and it's a different battle, like the land commissioner race is going to matter more this year than I think it has ever in the history of the state, because now you have these different land use issues coming up, and we could see data centers being impacted by decisions that the land commissioner makes. So that's another important race.
So only Democrats running for that one, right?
Yeah, that was one of those that the Republicans missed. Yep.
The disappointment in your face.
Man, it's like that's the basic part of the whole damn job is finding candidates. It's not easy to do, but you got to go do it.
I mean, that is a bummer for the party. It's like that those are the ones where those should be the like low risk, low reward sort of thing.
Seriously.
Right? Like there's got to be somebody in a rural part of the state that is like, I want to be commissioner of lands.
Just go back to Pat Lyons. I'm sure he'd like to be commissioner.
Yeah, I mean, and that's sort of a job made for those sort of small,
very
town
much so.
politicians. The folks that are like the ombudsman of the town council or something. Anyway, I was just curious because I know there's two folks running in the Democratic Party, the Democratic race. It's Matthew McQueen and Sanchez. I totally blanked on his first name.
I know what you mean.
Juan?
I think it's Juan, yeah. And I think out of the two, he would probably be better on a lot of the data center type issues.
Which one would be?
Sanchez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he's... I mean, they're both... McQueen's from... It's either El Dorado or something like that. Like somewhere...
Santa Fe area.
Yeah, Santa Fe County area for sure. And then, I think... Well, I'm pretty sure it's Juan. I apologize, Juan. I've actually talked to the guy before, and I feel bad not remembering his name. But I believe he's from, like, here. Maybe your neck of the woods. but maybe I'm making that
somewhere
up.
close by.
I'm just
I can't
totally
remember,
doing the Joe Rogan thing that I just bashed him for. I'm like fucking
happens.
saying shit.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, that'll be a tough one, and I think that's probably going to be. It's a little too late for those questions to start going to them now. I mean, I'm sure people have asked them about that, but
I'm sure they have. There's a lot of discussion about it in Socorro. People actually wanting to get involved in the land commissioner's race at this point, which is unusual.
Yeah.
But you've also got utility scale solar projects that are coming online, and people are trying to figure that out. Do they want that stuff in their backyard? That'll involve state lands. Oil and gas always naturally involves state lands. So there's a lot of really unique issues rubbing up against each other right now that involve land use, which never thought I'd say those words.
Well, speaking of land use and, the Gabe Vasquez thing, Cunningham, right? We talked a little bit about him before.
Still don't know where he stands on FISA 702.
But we do know that he's endorsed by Trump, right? And so I was thinking about that in terms of, as we're recording this just this morning, I woke up to the news that another Republican lost to Trump-backed primary candidate.
John Cornyn, of all people,
longtime senator, and I was reading today that it's the first time ever that Texas, a U.S. senator in Texas lost in the primary, like an incumbent lost in the primary.
Pretty crazy. It shows you that Trump still has some electoral pull, believe it or not. I mean, Thomas Massey lost the week before, although there's some funny business in that election. It looks like 45,000 ballots may have been fraudulent in that race. So I don't know. It's interesting to see that Trump still has that much pull, even though he's got a 23% approval rating.
I mean, it seems surprising, right? And you and I were talking about this before. Is like maybe I'm in my own little vacuum, and I'm not even talking about like friends, but like the media that I consume. I knew that there's a lot. Like he still has some large support because, humans in general have a hard time saying like the guy I voted for sucks. Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah, I'm not one of those humans.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, I'm quick to point out everybody's flaws.
I'm pretty judgy like that.
But yeah, that surprised me. I mean, the Massey thing surprised me a little bit, but it made me think of
the most expensive primary race in the history of the United States. By the way,
it made me think of the Justin Amash, right? I know he didn't get voted out. I think he was like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But for whatever reason, then and now, like I'm thinking, maybe the bubble part of it is that I overestimated or gave too much credit to the general public, at least, like even knowing who Thomas Massey is.
Yeah, most people don't.
I recalling some old conversations I've had, and this was like years ago or months ago, when they're like, I think his name is Thomas Massey, but I really like him, And I'm like, so yeah, I don't know how many people were actually like, I don't know. And then of course in the local election, I don't know. The House seats are a little bit more fickle than Senate seats. The Senate seat was the one that really surprised me today because that's usually a pretty. I always assume that's why people wanted to go to the Senate from the House, is so that they.
Yeah, well, and Cornyn is not too far off from where Trump stands on a lot of things, and he's voted for most of his agenda. So it's interesting to see him going after someone like that. I'm not a Cornyn fan, but
odd strategy too, because he's gonna go up against Tallarico, who has arguably trying to paint himself as a moderate Democrat, right?
Right.
He's the John Fetterman. Well, the old John Fetterman.
Old Fetterman.
He's the Texas Christian who can also talk very intellectually about the Bible.
Yeah.
And I think I did see him on Rogan a while back, a long time ago, and I think it was even before he even at that time he said, I don't want to run for anything. I just want to stay in my lane. But very explained things in a very like calm and common sense way, and
Yeah,
you know,
he's
you're
got
like,
a good presence.
all right, you know, I can get that, you know, and
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be too full of himself, you know.
No. I can see him picking up a lot of votes. It could be a very challenging race.
Yeah,
very
it seems like you'd want to put a moderate Republican up against a moderate Democrat instead of a, you know, far left. I mean,
You would think.
it's almost like, you know how they're not, but really are, but maybe not controlling the stock market.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Ask Robin Hood and GameStop.
They're doing the same thing with the like. Maybe I'm sure somebody smarter than me has already figured this out, but like we got to do like some sort of graph of like announcements of peace from the president versus like
it's been like a dozen announcements at this point.
But versus like when certain primary elections are happening, right? Like
Yep, and what's happening in the stock market?
Yeah,
and with oil.
Yeah,
there's so many weird things going on with that right now.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
nuts.
I mean, it's I don't know that I can buy any excuse for like the president saying, "Hey, check out this company's really great," and then finding out that he was, you know. And then, but then the lame excuse of like, oh, he doesn't do that himself. He's got advisors, and I'm like, it's still his fucking stock. Like,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's insane. And I remember when presidents used to literally put all of their assets into a blind trust, and I don't think that's happened recently.
No,
that's important.
Didn't he do that early on? But then that was before he brought his family in. Basically,
he did it in the first administration partially.
Yeah,
and then he started bringing his whole family. Oh my God! Did you see the latest wedding in his family?
The junior.
Yeah, Don Jr. married the daughter of Epstein's banker.
Oh my God!
Are you serious? Really? Yeah. Where's that list? I think we all know. So,
I don't know. I don't
more
like,
fuckery.
How do you? I'm just thinking on like, just trying to bring it down to like poor people levels. If you found out, you know, at what point when you're dating somebody and you find out that they've got a horrid connection to something terrible, and you're like, I mean, I don't think this is going to work out. You know?
That's a pretty serious piece of baggage, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That kind of shit's still going on, so it's just I think it's always going on. It's just more blatant and in your face now. It's like
it's the
you peasants.
Yeah, it's the very much the like. And look, I can't say that I would be lying if I said I don't feel vindicated somewhat of like. I think now I realize that cable news, and I hate the term mainstream media because I don't think it doesn't mean anything. Like me, I'm like, what, like, it's just such a vague thing. But like, cable news is where I will draw the line between like, you know, fuckery and not fuckery.
Right.
So all that aside, that like the sensational cable news stuff aside, I think press felt early on this indignant attitude from, and it sucked, right? And it sucked to like see people be like, yeah, and it's sort of maybe they just didn't have the best like media literacy, or they weren't as media literate as they should have been, because it was like, I feel like some people don't separate, like, well, don't take out what you're seeing on CNN on your hometown newspaper, and the reporter that's trying to find out, you know, like
the mayor's committing fraud connected to the cartel.
Like, not everything is fake news, but like when he coined that like fake news bullshit, then I was like, fuck, you know. And I'm like, then I find myself defending other journalists because I'm like, God, it's already a fucking shitty industry as it is. Like, I'm not gonna fight, you know, a reporter on. I'm not gonna fight about Don Lemon, you know, saying that. But like,
Don Lemon, that's a great example.
But yeah, anyway. So I can't say. Yeah, I feel a little bit vindicated that now more and more people are starting to see that like gaslighting, that like bullshit, like.
Yep.
And he's just. I mean, even the quiet piggy thing, like just the way he told somebody, like, I'm way smarter than you, or something, like, you know.
Always.
Like,
he's always doing shit like that. On one hand, I appreciate the candidness, because it's opened up a little bit more honesty in our society about some things. But on the other hand, you're the president. In public, do not behave that way. at all.
Yeah, I would argue you could do, and he has shown some like candidness without being mean to people.
Yeah.
Like, what did he say? God, this is also. It's so funny how such a short period of time ago felt so much better than today. But like, do you remember when Israel and Iran, like, it first started to bubble, more recently started to bubble up before,
like late last year,
before we got involved, and Trump pulled the like, they better figure it the fuck out, or whatever. I forget what he said, but he
that's
said
exactly
fuck.
what he said. Yeah,
I love that, right? Like
before he was controlled.
yeah, I'm like, if you could just stick with that message, like, you guys got to fucking figure this shit out, you know? That's the kind of candidness that doesn't bother me as much as like,
No,
you know, you're a fucking idiot.
that's real. That's real. Like calling people a fucking idiot that's a reporter just trying to do their job.
Especially when they're
like,
on fucking Air Force One with you and they can't go anywhere. And now, like, everybody's just looking at you like, oh.
Well, and have respect for the institution as the person sitting in that seat, too. Like, that seems to be completely gone with this administration.
And look, I think even doing it, not even, like, take out the passive aggressiveness of it, and like, even I would have loved for folks to have called me more often to be like, I think this story is bullshit, and we could have a conversation about it.
I did it all the time.
Yeah. Instead of, and I got plenty of those calls, and I appreciated them more than like this weird. Oh God, I don't know. I'm not talking ill of the dead, but Pat Rogers, you know.
Pat was master at doing that.
He one time told me about a story that I wrote. He said something essentially like, I was really surprised at how well that was written.
Yep, that's Pat. That was Pat.
like he's like, you finally got it right. You know, like you finally, you know, got your fucking, stop being a whatever. Anyway, but he did it with a smile on his face. I didn't really take it, but yeah, like, even cut that shit out too and just be like, I don't know, let's just be open about how we're feeling about whatever, you know.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with picking up a phone if you're a PR flack and calling a reporter and saying, I disagree with how you wrote this, but, you know, back it up. Here's why. This is more of our perspective. And having that it doesn't have to be friendly, but cordial, at least, conversation about your disagreements.
Oh, for sure.
There is nothing wrong with that. I think right now, especially in our society today, people are just afraid of those conversations because they don't do it anymore. You're not challenged like that on a regular basis any longer. It's all interactions behind some kind of screen, even like on Zoom calls and whatnot.
Yep.
There's no threat of physical harm from a Zoom call.
Yeah.
If you're getting together face to face and you're talking like some people do online, you better bet there's going to be fists thrown.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, most people have at least a little, mostly aren't sociopaths, in that, like, it's a lot harder to say mean shit to somebody's face.
Absolutely,
you know?
It is.
Unless you're like really, and I've been there before, but usually with family members, like, just so mad that I say something really fucking mean.
It happens.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like most people, you could get it cleared up pretty quickly in person.
Yeah, just talk.
Yeah,
that's all it takes. Just talk. A lot of the fucking problems we're having right now could be really solved if people just got together and talked about it.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of what we've been sort of preaching from our little YouTube channel is like, it's also okay to say agree to disagree and move on. Or, I mean, I don't mind debating shit.
No, that's fine too.
But if it starts to get to a point where we're both getting angry, then I'm like, all right, let's move on to something else. You know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna fix that problem, obviously.
There's plenty of problems to agree on. You know, if you disagree on something, so what? It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Like, I kind of thought we all agreed that, like, the president is getting worse and worse every day.
Well, a majority of the country does. So
I mean, it's to the point where some of this stuff is like, even with a really strict journalistic standard. I mean, like, like stuff that's pretty straight down the middle, Reuters, AP, and but when it's that blatant, there's no other way to read it, you know? Like, oh, they're biased. They make it sound like, no, they're fucking just saying what he said.
Yeah, that's all. That's it. There's plenty of times where, you know, stuff gets clipped or taken out of context. I mean, Trump won a loose lawsuit against 60 Minutes during the campaign. Sure. So it happens.
It does happen. But somebody said the other day to me that the comment about not putting the economy as a priority basically was taken out of context. But I think what that person I was talking to meant was, oh, everybody's taking it as like Trump saying like the let them eat cake sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which maybe wasn't that drastic, but it was alarming in the sense that like he didn't even try to couch it as like, he just literally was like, I'm more worried about them having a bomb than I am about us. I mean, what's funny is that like that was literally the argument from the, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to divide these people up without being offensive to either side, but we'll say the maskers, right? The people that were like, we got to shut down, the pro shutdown kind of folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The argument was, our economy can recover. That's not as important as our health, which is basically what Trump's saying about.
Yeah.
But a war.
And here we are
world.
6 years later, and the economy is even more in the shitter than it was, largely due to actions taken during COVID. I took his comments a little more on the let them eat cake side, but stepping back from it a little bit and looking at it, he probably meant, I'm so focused on these negotiations, I realize that the American people are struggling right now, but what I have in mind during these negotiations is just not letting them get the bomb.
Still the wrong answer.
100% still the wrong answer. I'm with you because he could have couched that so much better, but I mean, he said so many off the cuff retarded things like that I don't know. I think part of me feels like he actually meant what he said. I really do.
Yeah, no, I think he did. I think he has disdain for pretty much everybody that's. I think these two presidencies have worn on him emotionally. And like intellectually, physically.
Yep.
Probably more than some others, right? Like you look.
He's getting his ass kicked pretty hard
because he's also seems like an angry guy, right? Like
which I kind of understand coming off of what he came off of, but on the other hand too, it's like, okay, you won, like time to actually serve the country.
Yeah,
he was not angry in his first term like he is now.
He seems very like sick of sick of
everything.
Like, sick of this bullshit.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I mean, even within this term, the beginning of the term was very kind of upbeat and a little more positive. He wasn't at least I think angry, and then about halfway through last year is when it really started to.
He was more the cocky asshole, like I won, like the sore. Yeah. He was the sore winner of like rubbing it in everyone's faces, like look how great I am. He was very like. So I saw something online where they were showing all of his tweets or posts from Memorial Day over the years, and they got shorter and shorter, but like increasingly nicer, and like, not nicer, but like it was
the tone improved.
It was very boisterous of like it's the greatest country in the world, and I'm the greatest president, and then every year after that is like it's like fuck you, like just going through his fuck you list. And
oh my god, he's unhinged right now.
It's hard to, like I said, I think you could be completely objective and say that. I mean, I think at this point, if anybody is arguing, look, it's the same argument that people use for, and this is probably a bad example because people still dispute it, but like climate change stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Where like it's like, yes, there are scientists that are saying other things, but the majority of scientists, it's like 9 out of 5 or 4 out of 5 dentists prefer Colgate or whatever, right? Like, sure, there's always a fifth dentist that's like, no, Colgate sucks. But anyway, I just think that at some point you're like, the majority of the people see through the bullshit, and we all are going to just call it like we see it and say that even for folks that are like, ends justify the means because we got a Republican in office, like I think even for a lot of those folks, they're like, let's just get done with this 4 years. And but it sucks. I don't know what that leaves for potential Republicans on the
I don't know, man.
If that's going to be a Rubio, and like that's the thing is like I don't know that anybody. If I was a Republican, I don't know I would be able to trust anybody in that cabinet that used to be one side or the other.
Well, I just saw a story last night that said J.D. Vance is considering not running for president in 2028 because of everything that's been going on, and I think that would be a wise move on his part if he wants to try and save any kind of political future for himself.
Again, New Mexico and Lou Wallace quote, blah, 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 and everything's different here. But Dianne Dennis probably would have had a better chance of winning governor if it weren't for just coming off of 8 years of Richardson.
I absolutely agree. We were easily able to tie them together. She tried really hard to distance herself, but the record was there. So Rubio might have a little easier time sliding by just because he's
been more quiet and he's been a little bit more like...
I mean, he's still been out front on a lot of stuff, but everything that I've seen, at least publicly, people still look very favorably at him.
Yeah, and I don't know...
He's actually done a pretty decent job as Secretary of State, too.
He's... there was only a short period of time where he tried to hide his war hawkness either,
True.
And I think that was when he was running in the primary against Trump, right? And he was sort of painting himself as that Trump's going to get us into these wars and blah, 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 blah. And, then went very populist and was like, anyway. That'll be an interesting one. I was going to say, too, about the lieutenant governor thing.
Yeah.
Sort of that unfairness for Dianne Dennis, because people often ignore or just don't care that really is just like a separate office,
Yeah, their only real role is to preside over the Senate, and
right.
They don't even necessarily have to do that.
And they only by a technicality end up running in the general with that other person.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know about mathematically, is this the right word to say, but theoretically, you could end up with a a lieutenant governor that's a different party than the governor, right?
Yeah, you could.
I mean, obviously, the probability of that is so small, but I'm just saying that's how separate those offices when you run for them are. Is that you could vote for the governor and not the and not the lieutenant governor, right? On the ballot.
And rarely is the lieutenant governor, once elected, even really involved in the administration.
Yeah, like you said, they run the Senate.
Yeah, that's really it, and they're largely ceremonial outside of the Senate.
Well, they're second in command, obviously.
Technically, they're supposed to be in charge when the governor's out of town, but with the way technology is anymore, that's kind of unrealistic.
Right.
The lieutenant governor is not going to do something like call out the National Guard without getting on the phone with the governor first.
And the governor has rarely ever gone long enough for anything to actually ever happen to make...
I mean, this governor travels quite a bit, but...
Sorry, at one time.
Yeah.
I forgot she was at the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, yeah, at the Derby. Wasn't she in China recently?
I don't know.
A couple other places, something like that.
I know she was with UNM football coach at the Derby.
Yep, that's right.
That was, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about that. It looked like they were having a fun time. They looked like fun people. But I was also like, don't
as long as taxpayer money didn't pay for it.
Yeah, for sure, that. But also, I'm like, regardless, just like an out-of-touch thing. I'm like, not, especially
right now.
Yeah.
It's just not a good look for any politician.
It does make me mad. I don't have anything against it. I'm like, go have fun. You're allowed to post your personal pictures and do whatever. But I just saying from my perspective, I'm like, man, that sucks. Gas is so expensive right now. But it looks like they're having a good time.
Fly to Kentucky and have a blast at the track. We buy tickets that most Americans can't afford right now. So there's that too. I don't know.
I think money does that to a lot of people.
It does.
And I'm not even saying that they're either of them are filthy rich, but they have more money than
the average
than
bear.
anybody that I know.
Yeah, absolutely, no question about it.
Except for you.
I couldn't even afford to go to the Kentucky. I could barely afford to go to the Santa Fe Derby if we had one.
I can't go to Kentucky.
I could drive to Kentucky, sure. Couldn't get through the gates, though.
I can barely afford a layover at the Cincinnati airport.
Yeah, exactly. Ay.
Well,
crazy times.
We better wrap up. Give shout out again to Thrive Cannabis.
Yes.
Gracious enough to let us hang out in their super cool lounge.
Yes. Good weed.
So I'm gonna finish this half a pre-roll before I go, and
I got another one to smoke.
They're going to have some bingo here tonight. You should check them out.
Yeah.
We'll get their Instagram stuff in the
They've got
comments.
regular events here, so check
Yeah.
out their schedule. It's pretty cool.
Nice
Josh is a cool guy. Maybe we have him on the show sometime.
Yeah, totally. Nice
Yeah.
open space. Love to come back.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of bingo, we got to get out of here so that we can make room for the next awesome event.
Yep.
And until next time. Well, yeah, hopefully folks will watch us live
on primary night.
Election night. We'll get that promoted and all that.
Yes, sir. You got
all right. See you in a few days, Matt.
See ya. Thanks, Andy.
Bye.